This is a good question. So I have never counted a single calorie a day in my life, and outside of being very, very peripherally aware of roughly how many grams of protein I get in a day, I don't track macros either, certainly not fat and carbohydrate. I don't think it works in the long term, and I think there's a better way. See, in the long term, everything changes. You change, your habits change, your metabolic rate changes. How is a formula going to keep up with this? You're going to need to update it at every turn. And at what point do you just throw it away and learn to eat intuitively? Learn to listen to your body. Learn to know, as our hunter-gatherer ancestors did, what you need when you need it. They didn't have a formula. They didn't track macros. They certainly didn't do silly things like weigh their food. They knew what they needed when they needed it because they weren't totally disconnected from their bodies. This disconnect is of the modern era, and it's actually exacerbated by practices like counting calories and tracking macros. Throughout your life, you're in a constant state of change. Unless your formulas and equations are also in a constant state of change, they're not going to keep up. Which brings me to my last point. It's exhausting trying. Trying to do this is unsustainable. What happens when life gets in the way? What happens when you go away on work or vacation and your routine changes and so do levels of input and output? Is it still easy to just plug into your macro calculator, or do you, like most people who count calories and track macros, fall off when your routine changes, like when you are traveling, because formulas can't possibly keep up with every change in behavior? Don't be fooled. You can't possibly factor life into a macro calculator, and trying to do this is never going to be easier than simply developing those basic metabolic instincts, something that takes some time figuring out in the beginning, but in the long term equals dietary freedom. Freedom from formulas and equations, freedom from tracking macros, freedom from worrying about how you're going to manage constant interruptions in your routine.